All right, welcome everybody for the April 10th edition of the California Pirate Party biweekly meetings. My name is Bryce. I am the secretary. And to start this meeting off, we'll go ahead and have Orion check in with the president's report. So why don't you go for it, Orion?
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing well. We've had serious movement with the Pirate Party in the last couple weeks, and that's really awesome. There's a lot to talk about. First things first, from the logistical side, our paperwork is finally done and completed. If you go to the California Secretary of State website and click on the list of political organizations attempting to qualify, the California Pirate Party will now appear on that list, which is pretty awesome, which means which means every person that registers to vote as a member of the California Pirate Party counts towards our ultimate goal of being a qualified political party in the state of California. So there's that. One of the conversations that's been happening on Slack related to that is how people specifically sign their voter registration cards. I guess the clerk's offices in various counties in California can be confused by different listings. And only some of them are just now receiving information that they need to count the number of people who register as pirates. So I guess I would take this opportunity to remind everyone that if you are registering to vote as a member of the California Pirate Party, where it lists your political affiliation instead of filling in a bubble for either Democrat or Republican, you have to specifically write California Pirate Party under the other option in order to be counted towards our overall total. If you just write something like Pirate Party or Pirate, then there's a chance that the people in the clerk's office will place that in a separate category under other, and it may not actually count. Now, I know that this is a technicality, but it is something that has sort of hurt political participation in the past, so we want to make sure that we do it right. Let's see. On the other logistical side, our website is going good. Our new updated version of the website is live and running, and we're still making changes to the website. It is, as always, a work in progress. However, it has all of our past stuff archived. It has handy menus, and the one part that we are trying to work on right now is the part that says get involved. We want to make it easier for people to access our Slack channel, the Rocket Chat. We want to make it easier for people to directly communicate with us or participate in meetings. And so I think that's our current priority with regards to the website itself. But I myself used the website in order to donate some money to the Pirate Party earlier this week. And so the Pyrex donations page seems to be working totally fine. I'm super excited about that. Even though Laura can't be here tonight, she let us know before the meeting that we've raised, I think, over $200 in the last couple weeks. So it's slow, but ever since it started, there have been consistent donations, and that is fantastic. It seems like with everybody's help and our new iteration of the Pirate Party post-Trump era, that things are moving way faster, and our people who are directly participating in day-to-day Pirate Party stuff are doing a fantastic job. I myself am truly inspired by the number of active conversations that are happening on our Slack channel on a variety of different issues and topics. People are collaborating and working together on projects regarding our logos, regarding outreach and communication with people. There have been multiple creative conversations about getting our voter registration drive going, as well as some actual policy discussions and philosophical arguments about our platform. It's really awesome, and in my opinion is an example of direct participative democracy in action, and I think that's awesome. So I highly recommend, if there's anybody watching this meeting or interested in Pirate Party Matters, if you haven't already downloaded the Slack app or been invited by us to participate, please let us know. You can contact anyone involved in the California Pirate Party, and they can send you an invite to the Slack channel. Let's see. In other news, Bryce and I have both independently reached out to other pirates in the state of California. I believe there is a tentative meeting at the end of April with the Berkeley Student Pirate Party organization, which we have a lot in agreement with without even meeting them, which is totally awesome. I know that there are other attempts to set up meetups currently happening. Right before this meeting started, Bryce and I discussed the possibility of having a Pirate Party meetup in Dolores Park in middle May, with the purpose of maybe even hosting a public debate at that event. One of the other things that's happened in the past week or so is we've started to produce Pirate Party swag or products with a logo or Pirate Party stuff on them. The coffee cups, t-shirts, they look really, really cool. So hopefully sometime in the next few weeks, we will have some actual products that we can distribute to people to share the message of the Pirate Party. Let's see. One other thing that I guess I do want to talk about at this very beginning juncture in the meeting is I want to talk really quick about, I know that two of our officers aren't here tonight, but I do want to set up a tentative schedule for electing officers. Now that we have all of our actual paperwork and everything is done, seems like a good time to set up a schedule to end our transition team and have formal elections for the officer positions for the California Pirate Party. And so that's something that I want to do tonight, is just at least talk about that for a couple minutes, so that we know when we're going to vote and how long we have for people to nominate / have conversations about it. So I guess I will use that as an opportunity to bounce it back to you, Bryce. How do you feel about having an election exactly 1 month from tonight, with our meeting in between now and next month, offering an opportunity for people to nominate themselves and have conversations either at our next meeting or over Slack before people vote next month? Sort of like a two-step project. Step one is either nominate yourself or somebody else for office sometime between now and 2 weeks from now, and then have an open voting period for the following 2 weeks. And people can vote at any time during those 2 weeks. And then when we have our meeting a month from now, announce what the new positions are.
Yeah, I think that that's a good idea. I would counter that by saying that I think that it would be important for us to have some kind of public meetup prior to that, because I think that up until this point, we haven't really had the resources in order to have an effective public appearance. I know that we've had meetups, and we had that when we were kind of first sort of reviving things back in December, we had a brief meetup in the Haight. But I do think that it's important for us to have a meetup where we actually have business cards and swag and can actually discuss things with other folks that are out in the public, in order for us to have a better understanding of who should be elected for different officer positions, because I think that's a component to it. How do the officers handle public interactions with other folks? So with that said, I am amenable to that 1 month timeline. I do, however, think that we should schedule some kind of public appearance before that, in order to just better understand who should be elected for whatever spots.
I agree with that. I think that's a really good idea, and it would be nice to see people face to face and chat with them. I mean, obviously based on region, actually, now that you mention it, this might be a good idea. I'm just throwing out ideas here, but and I'm gonna double check the chat window to see how other people feel about this, to make sure I want to make sure that if there are people watching our meeting that are participating, then I want to see what they have to say about it. But how about this? I agree with you. How about the tentative date that we were throwing around for our little meetup in Dolores Park was what, May 13th?
May 13th, right?
Okay, that's about a month away from right now. So what if we change our window of voting to elect officers from a 1 month window to a 2 month window? Let's have our vote in 2 months, and that will give us 1 month to prepare a more formal meetup opportunity on May 13th, We can tentatively use Dolores Park to do that. And have some face-to-face conversations. We can also use that as our formal declaration of who's going to go on the Pirate Party ballot, which means anytime in the next month as we lead up to May 13th, we can talk about people who are interested in being nominated. We have the event on May 13th, have open conversations, see the public, and then we schedule a voting window for a month after that.
Right. I think that sounds great. And the other thing that I would encourage also, and it's a little bit difficult since the Pirates from Los Angeles are not here, but I think it would be important to get some of the folks from the greater Los Angeles area, and also any Pirates that we may have from San Diego that are interested in assuming one of the officer positions, to also coordinate some time to do kind of a public meetup with the swag, with kind of having a public space in mind that they may be able to do some kind of like debate or a demonstration or just whatever other Pirates may choose to do. I think that the 2-month timeline is long enough in order to get swag distributed and kind of get something in the books to like make a public appearance.
I agree with you. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, I also think it's a fantastic idea to simultaneously do this in Southern California as well. And have, even if we could have some little cross communication between the two events, would be fantastic as well. I agree with that totally.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, there, like with any public appearance, I think that there's, we should also coordinate. If we feel ambitious, we could try coordinating with some of the social media folks to see about getting some, like, some Snapchats or some Instagrams going while our public meetups go down, because that's the stuff that kind of helps to generate, just like some pictures and some like, something of like real people doing real stuff. That way we're not just like, doing activism from behind a computer.
Totally.
Cool. So let's, and if I'm not mistaken, also, I'm pretty sure that our the 6-month interim deadline was in June, anyways. So this is all. This feels kind of poetic to me. So
yeah.
Let's call it like beginning of June is when we'll be looking at having elections for permanent officers. And of course, we'll need to be discussing like the length that officers stay in office for, and just kind of iron out some of the other details that go along with that.
Yes.
But those are things that we can take care of.
Yeah, there's one other thing that I wanted to say. I'll wait, because I think it might be in your agenda, but don't let us hang up without talking about the U.S. Pirate Party and the PNC.
Oh, yeah, definitely. One other thing I was going to add to something that you covered already was the voter registration. I would like to see about getting some paper ballots sent to me so that we can, or I don't know if you still have that old box of ballots. One way or the other, we should be armed with voter registration cards so that if folks want to change them in person. I think we should also be prepared to, California does have an online voter registration process. I don't quite know the legalities for a political party to post the direct link to the voter registration website, but I do think that that's something that we should have in our back pockets, whether it's for online or for public appearances. We should be, giving that out with instructions for folks to get set up with getting registered as pirates, because that's, for a lot of people, that's going to be a lot quicker and easier to just, get it taken care of on your phone.
Yeah. With regards to the ballots, that box of ballots that we had are officially gone. They were 2012 ballots anyway, which means they had specific information about the 2012 elections. So as a result of that, they were totally outdated. In order for you to get paper ballots, the easiest way to do it is to go to your local city hall, go to the clerk's office in City Hall in the Department of Elections, and just notify them that you are attempting to host a voter registration drive and would like to pick up a bulk number of blank ballots for distribution in your community. They'll ask you what language you want. I got sort of a mix of of English and Spanish and Chinese, various languages spoken at least in San Francisco, in order to be, to make sure everybody had access to various ballots. And I had that box for a long time, but they'll give you another whole stack if you are willing to drop by City Hall and go to the clerk's office. I'm pretty sure that's true in every single county in the Department of Elections office of City Hall. So, for pirates out there who are trying to pick up ballots, if it's not in the Bay Area, you can still do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we've got some folks on the Slack channel that are already forming a committee to help out with the voter registration drive. So once that kind of gets cemented and we have an instruction video on how to go about the voter registration drive, then we can kind of start doing that all over California. I would also encourage folks and we can talk about this more sort of off the air on the Slack channel, but encourage folks in the LA area to also be doing this as well, so that we can just kind of have on both ends of California to have some stack of paper ballots in our possession, so that we can help get folks signed up for it. And of course, just, as well as, instructions on getting set up with voter registration over the internet. Let's see, other things. So one of the projects that I'm working on is the Pirate Party volunteer spreadsheets. If you haven't already and are willing to answer some questions, including like name and email and expertise, I'd encourage you to fill that out. I believe I've direct messaged all the pirates that are currently signed up with Slack. If you don't mind just like sending whatever information you feel comfortable with back to me. That way, as we continue to expand, it just becomes a little bit easier to designate tasks out and to kind of gauge what folks are able to do in terms of, their own expertise or their interests or the number of hours that they have per week. It just kind of helps make the process a little bit smoother. So if, like I said, you don't have to answer all of it, but whatever pieces of information you're willing to fill me in on, that would be super, so that that way we can just coordinate tasks a little bit better. One of the other, you mentioned this one, Orion. We've had quite a few discussions on platform right now, and in fact, if you go to the website, we have the platform page that it's gone through quite a few revisions already. Definitely encourage that we keep discussing what the platform issues are and how to go about like debating and discussing them. I have a feeling that as we do more public appearances, this will kind of flesh itself out, and we'll be able to have a more cohesive take on what our platform issues are. But until then, I think that this is something that really encourage folks on Slack to check out and to be making sure that the issues are reflective of the things that they want the Pirate Party to be addressing.
I'm happy I'm happy that the platform debate is providing an opportunity for people to have complex conversations about, issues like 99% versus the 1%, and the urgency of specifically identifying areas of social justice that we care about. And, the one thing that I haven't seen listed on the platform, it's like our platform says that we support direct democracy and participative action. I do think that our platform listing could be a little bit more explicit about supporting certain political tactics like protesting and the need for public debate. I understand that in the past it's been more of that's something we do, it's not necessarily something we believe in, but the longer this goes on, I kind of feel like it does deserve a place in the platform beyond some of the other issues regarding copyright, IP, patent, open internet, net neutrality, all, and social justice. I also think that we should put something in there about, a specific arguments, or not argument, but a specific demand for, people's voices to be heard.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that that's an important piece in this, and I don't think that I don't even think it's that controversial. I mean, really, it's the capacity for folks to be able to stand up for something that they believe in And I think worst comes to worst, it's, that debate can always be, I think, as it relates to protest, that's something that certain forms of it are, absolutely covered under the First Amendment, which I think is one of the major components to Pirate Party is freedom of speech. So yeah, let's see about continuing to discuss some of the different tactics that folks can be using in order to advancing their their own social agenda, and sort of what the Pirate Party's relationship is to those tactics and whatnot.
Cool.
Okay, upcoming events. A couple of events to check in with. In both the San Francisco Bay Area and in Los Angeles on April 22nd. So this is going to be before our next meeting. It's going to be the March for Science. So I'll go ahead and post something on Facebook to remind folks about it. But I think that this is an incredibly important event that pirates should be attending if you're able to, if you've got that time free. I think that Orion, you've always been, the last few meetings, you've kind of started it off with kind of acknowledging the state of politics of things, and the capacity for us pirates to go out and protest and to say that, like, look, what's happening on a federal level, a lot of it's just not okay. We need to be able to have that time and space to be able to do that. And what better place than with a bunch of folks that would agree with, evidence-based policies and sort of direct democratic practices. So
can I add something onto that, actually?
Go for it.
Yeah, one thing that I am really interested in doing in the short term, like at least in the next couple weeks, I think, is trying to have like an actual political conversation. And one idea is to have this happen in the form of a pirate hour conversation. If we could enlist someone to participate in a video chat with us sometime in the next couple weeks, I think that'd be really great. And especially because you're right, I have in the past started our meetings by talking about specific things happening in the political landscape. And yeah, I mean, like, I don't want that to hijack the meeting, but I will say just that a lot of shit has happened in the last 2 weeks and in the last month. I mean, with regards to the world around us, and I mean specific things about the Pirate Party too. The entire House and Senate voting to eliminate the consumer privacy protection laws by the FCC, allowing our broadband service providers to sell our private confidential information without our permission, and signed and implemented by Trump, is a terrifying possibility. It really is. And, interestingly enough, the FCC privacy protection rollback was one of the very first unpopular things that Trump did with his own constituents. And I think that is an important thing to acknowledge and specify, particularly because most news stories that I've read about this seem to argue that it is a signal that our new the new secretary in charge of the FCC is now planning to fast track the elimination of net neutrality rules. I think that's something that directly and significantly affects us pirates, and it offers us an opportunity to speak louder about it and the Pirate Party's response to it, like right now. I think that's important. And so I was interested in having a Pirate Hour conversation sometime in the next couple weeks, not only on those digital rights issues that are happening at the federal level, but also some developments that are happening in California, such as California's most recent push to provide universal health care to every single citizen of our state, and thereby provide a model for a federal single-payer health care system, in addition to debates currently happening in California about making it a sanctuary state for undocumented people. I think that, like, there's a lot of very interesting things happening outside of our logistical organizational conversations that I think we should be participating in and have our face out there as, generating conversations about them. So after this meeting, I will follow up with people to see if anyone's interested in doing a Google Hangout sometime either this week or next week. And maybe we can get a guest or two to come talk to us about those things as well. well. So I think that's a good idea. And your last comment about, sort of talking about political issues sort of made me think about that and want to say it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great to bring back the Pirate Hour. I think that was a really, I mean, it was, I actually really enjoyed doing those. I thought that it was really cool to hear from from some folks, like just what their viewpoints are on different issues and how we can best remedy, be it labor practices or just, whatever the thoughts are on the current political climate. That's, I think that that's important for our evidence-based practices. Yeah, March
that's
4th.
that's an upcoming event, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Let's pencil that in. All right. So we've got the March for Science on April 22nd. Also, for Pirates in the Bay Area, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the EFF, are holding some trainings. I posted a ton of stuff about this. It should be all over Facebook and all over Slack. You can check the Meet Space Slack channel for that, or you can go ahead and send us either an email or Facebook, whatever your mode of communication is. Basically, the EFF are holding trainings over at San Francisco Public Library to better secure like your smartphone, to better secure your computer, to just kind of give some basic information for the average consumer of like what privacy means and what it looks like and why it's so important and why, pirates should actually give a damn about the things that we do. I think that it's definitely encourage all pirates in the Bay Area to attend this. I'm going. If you're interested in going at all, go ahead and shoot me a direct message and we can see about linking up. Otherwise, I hope to come back with some information on what the EFF have to say and hopefully also network with some folks too, because that's something that we should be doing, linking up with these EFF folks and seeing what kind of contacts they have, maybe bringing in somebody to do a pirate hour, right?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll see what I can do to make happen. Let's see. That's what I got on my agenda, actually. That's yeah, you had said earlier that you wanted to check in about gosh, it's escaping my memory. The what was it that you wanted to check in about again, Orion?
Wasn't the paperwork. Well, we were there was a conversation to get a couple people involved in in the meeting tonight to talk about the election campaign stuff and also to talk about maybe some of the logo stuff, but I don't think that's what I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that I said I wanted to talk about. I think I already mentioned it. The thing I wanted to talk about that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting was a schedule for our voting and election. Oh, yeah, I remember now.
USPP,
The PNC and the U.S. Pirate Party. That's right. Okay.
Thank you.
So, in the last couple weeks, our awesome ambassador to the U.S. Pirate Party has, engaged in all their conversations. Through our back channels on Slack, we ratified the PNC bylaws. Just for those of you that aren't familiar with the acronyms, the PNC is the name of the national organization of pirate parties throughout the United States. Used to be called the U.S. Pirate Party, but it basically, it's basically our connection with other state parties and our relationship with them, not only helping them build their own state parties, but coordinating a national effort. And so now that California Pirate Party has restarted, we have to formally participate in elections. Coming up, there are elections for officers at the U.S. Pirate Party or PNC national level, and they have the Pirate National Committee is what the PNC stands for. Okay, and so there are officer votes, and they have actually specifically delayed their officer votes so that we can go through the formal process of being brought into the PNC so that we can not only participate in the elections as a party that votes, but also potentially offer people to run for officer positions in the Pirate National Committee. And so that is something that I think is important for us to talk about, because if there's anybody here who is interested in, or anyone from California who's interested in sort of being an officer for the national level pirate organization, then you should reach out to us and talk on Slack, because there is an opportunity to run for that. And also, California wants to be able to vote on the officers, and that's coming up next month. And so we're kind of on a short time frame. We've already ratified the PNC bylaws, and I think we're fast-tracked to be brought into the Pirate National Committee I think in the next upcoming meeting. And then their vote, the election, is going to happen in just a few weeks. So this is something that's happening right now. If this is your first time hearing about it, please reach out to us, because we can provide more information. It says, I'm seeing now on the Slack channel, the PNC elections will likely be on May 3rd. Okay, so that's coming up in the next couple weeks. All right, but that is also happening, and I'm glad I remembered to talk about it, because I think it's really important to participate in the national level PNC. I think there's a lot of resources that we can share, not only from our experience with other parties, but we can coordinate and do interesting things together. And so I think that's valuable. And I'm really, really happy that we are, again, going to be a meaningful participant and member of the national level pirate organization.
Yeah, good deal. And I also appreciate all the help that we're getting from our ambassador over the Slack channel right now. I'm reading the latest message that says that we should have a nomination for the PNC positions within about a week or so of that election. So if you're at all interested, definitely drop us a line either through Facebook or through Twitter or the Gmail accounts, and see about getting set up with Slack, and we can go ahead and move that discussion forward on the nomination process and get somebody elected. Okay. Anything else to cover? Anything that you wanted to go over, Orion?
There's only one thing that I wanted to actually. I want to say one thing that's like specific to politics before we hang up. Mm-hmm. Unless I want to give people on the. Yeah, okay. So what I'm seeing here is that their nominations are already happening for the PNC. This is something that's happening right now. So like I said, I mean, the time frame is immediate if you're interested in participating in this. Okay, so just want to clarify that. Okay, I just want to say two things. Number one, I think I've been watching the news very carefully over the last several weeks. And there was a news article that happened last Monday, I think, like in the past week, that when I read it, I honestly thought that it was one of the most significant news articles that's come out in the last several months regarding the Russian election interference with Trump. The article I'm referring to is the article from the Washington Post last Monday, I believe, which offered evidence that Eric Prince, the founder of Blackwater, had a meeting with a Russian billionaire in the United Arab Emirates in order to set up a secret back channel of communication direct Putin. Now, that story wasn't really covered too much beyond the Washington Post article, but I've been having conversations with a lot of my students over the course of the last week, many of whom were like 2 and 3 years old when 9/11 happened. And so a lot of people just don't really know the backstory of Blackwater as a private military contracting mercenary company for profit that provides military services, and that were rumored to have engaged in kidnappings and torture during the war in Iraq. And even the most famous scenario was when they entered the marketplace in Baghdad and opened fire and killed a bunch of people, and then the people who opened fire were tried and convicted of war crimes against humanity, and Blackwater changed their name and became another company called Academy, I think, and even today are currently operational in a bunch of different countries, still run by this guy Eric Prince. I didn't know this until I read the article. I didn't know that Erik Prince's sister was Betsy DeVos, our new Secretary of Education. It's just like my mind exploded when I learned that, and it's just so interesting to me. This is something that I think people should have their eyes on. At least, from I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. It makes me sound ridiculous just saying it out loud, but ultimately, like, there are some weird relationships happening that have been exposed by the media recently, and I think they're important. Which leads me to the last thing I want to say before we hang up tonight, which is, frankly, I've been processing and thinking about the United States bombing of Syria since over the weekend, since it happened, and frankly, I'm really confused about this. I mean, I've watched. I think that I understand the conflict and what's happening, and I've tried to have conversations with people about this like Syrian bombing issue, and it's really polarizing. There's a lot of disagreement about whether it was a good thing, whether it was a bad thing, whether it brings us closer to World War III with Russia, whether it was all just a ruse by Russia to create a familiar scenario so that sanctions could go away. I mean, this is all very fascinating to me, and I wanted to bring it up just because that's sort of what's happening right now in politics. And I mean, holy crap, I mean, 56 Tomahawk missiles at an air base that seemingly wasn't occupied by people at the time, or didn't actually stop the airbase from operating. I mean, I'll leave it as an open question, but I do think that it's worthy of a conversation. And I just wanted to publicly put out there that, like, the whole scenario is very confusing to me. And, as someone who spends a lot of time thinking about political analysis and geopolitics, I just, it's not surprising to me if it's confusing for other people too.
Yeah, that's thank you for that last little bit. I actually didn't know. I mean, I knew about Blackwater, but I didn't know all those different connections. That's really frightening. Boy, yeah, we all got a lot of work ahead of us, and I think that's also a position I've been holding, is that, like, now is the time for more investigative journalism to be revealing some of these connections, and for for activists to be publicizing that in order to help remove some of these folks from office, because that's how this is going to get overthrown. That's how if there's that's how that's how he get it how he gets impeached, and how we move forward with just kind of dealing with this. So
yeah
all
cool.
right, yeah, thank you. So that concludes our meeting for today. It looks like we'll be set to meet back up again on Monday, April 24th. Yeah, so we'll just we'll see everybody then.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Peace.